Hi, this is Ken Kirschbaumer with the Sports Video Group, and I'm here with Steve Miller-Jones with Limelight Networks, and you're involved with product strategy.
I am.
So I'll ask you a real basic question. What's going on as far as product strategy with Limelight Networks?
Yeah, so it's a really interesting time for us. We've spent a lot of effort over the last few years improving our quality, being able to continue to deploy, our dense architecture for the CDN around the world, and improve how we're delivering video and other content to users, making sure that, in video, rebuffer rates are critical, so driving that down through our focus on how our stack operates. The really exciting things that we're seeing now come through are innovations around streaming latency and innovations around computing. So, in streaming latency, last year we announced the WebRTC-based product, Limelight Real-Time Streaming, and we're continuing to innovate there by looking at how to do things like adaptive bitrate and how to bring the more sort of broadcast features and security features to that framework and format. So we're continuing down that path. And then on the compute side, we've started to offer up bare metal as a service and virtual machines as a service offerings, and we've seen some take up there from gaming companies like Network Next, and also sort of more industrial things as well. But what's really exciting, I think, is we're hearing a lot of demand from the video world and how some of sports works with interactivity and services that go along with video that require low latency interaction. And spiky audiences. So we started to build some compute services around the concept of function as a service that will be scalable within our infrastructure. And we're looking to really offer a wide gamut of compute offerings around the network, both ourselves and with our partnership with Ericsson.
Right. So you mentioned low latency. So it's not only just about making sure that the latency between the quote unquote broadcast stream and the over the top stream are as close as possible, but also to really enable more interactive services that are tied into the broadcast stream. So that's a whole different level of latency.
Right, exactly. Because let's say you've got data feeds that go with your sports game, right, the football game. What we're typically seeing today is the data feeds get burnt into the video during production. They get encoded and sent OTT. So you've got burnt-in data in the stream. But we all know one of the great parts of OTT is the data and personalization opportunities. So if we're both watching a game, why don't we look at some specific data that we're interested in as we're having a discussion while we're watching the game? Hey, I wonder what this striker's statistics are. Now, if you can then start building the data feeds into the streams, time synced with timestamps, then suddenly the opportunities for data interaction change. And OTT stops being just the next broadcast, and it actually becomes its own medium, and it's a real addition to the overall broadcast world, and it becomes really exciting.
Right. So I'm going to throw you a curveball, because this whole latency thing brings up what is the hottest topic among a lot of our Americans, is gambling and sports betting and latency. Yes. So as far, what do you see as that? People are saying that that's going to open up a whole new world, but you have to have minimalized latency for people to do that. So what's your sense on gambling and what that might mean for the OTT streaming market?
Yeah, so we've been working in that space for quite a long time. So there are sort of a range of options that are utilized today. So a couple of years ago, the real option was to try and make an HLS chunk really small. That has a lot of overhead, and it didn't necessarily work well in a lot of quality of experience issues. That's kind of improved. So we see today people using our network to kind of, I'd call it accelerate, we call it video acceleration. Accelerate the manifests and the chunks that are very, very small to get about 3 to 4 second latency out of an HLS stream. We're starting to see people look at low latency CMAF, which will get you down somewhere between 2 and 1 second. But really in the gambling side, we're seeing a lot of demand for the WebRTC protocol, because that gives you two things. In the way it implements the UDP protocols, it gives you a somewhat reliable way of delivering those streams, and then you get under a second. And they have the benefit of also bringing the potential for interactivity and data objects with them. So if you imagine a live casino game, you've got the roulette wheel, you've got the dealer in cards, but you've got the roulette wheel. And then, you want to see the statistics of what's going on. That's a data feed that comes over the top. So the WebRTC gives you, a stream which is really low latency, so you've got less drift between players, everyone's at the same point in the game, and you've then got the opportunity to bring some data into play. So I think you can do gaming with the HLS chunks and with a HTTP format stream. They're really small, and you get drift in the clients, and it's not ideal. Everyone's looking for under a second. So we think WebRTC is one way to get there. The Limelight real-time streaming service really helps do that, and we're seeing that with some of our customers today.
Right. So let's stick with gaming.
Sure.
How about eSports? That's another one where you definitely have to have everybody on the same page. There have been tournaments that have been shut down because they had to restart the whole thing because the latency was a problem. So where do you see that fitting in, and what are your opportunities there?
So we see esports is really quite exciting. I mean, you do need to be with the action. So if you look at what's happened with Twitch, they've embraced WebRTC again as well. So it's that rich environment that we see gaming and esports sort of fitting into. I think esports has got this great promise of being both like an entertainment format and also really augmenting what gamers are doing. The Twitch service in itself is really exciting, and what Microsoft have done with their own service is pretty cool. I think what we're going to see with esports is more tournaments and sort of a more rich interaction if people are able again to get into this data layer and start distributing information, which is also interesting. So from a viewer perspective, the play that someone just made might be really exciting, but maybe if I'm not an expert viewer, I want to know a bit more that goes with it. So kind of the overlay, the commentary, maybe different audio channels. So getting that into a more broadcast-rich environment might be really exciting too.
Right. Well, one thing we heard about at our esports conference was the potential someday where, because esports is a virtual environment. Mm-hmm. So you could have the viewers at home vote to all of a sudden create a 10-foot wall, or to build a 15-foot lake in the middle of somewhere that all of a sudden the competitors have to deal with that is totally defined by viewers at home.
Yeah, that'd be really cool. I mean, it'd be great to start building those applications that are interactive and to do it with the stream environment versus, it's a separate thing on the side. Then it has the possibility to be really interactive. I think that'd be really good.
Right. Okay, so let's go elevator pitch time, because I always find it fascinating wandering around IBC or NAB in your space. Mm-hmm. Pardon the cliche. There are a lot of players, right? A lot of the messaging is sort of similar. So in order to really find out, you often just stop by and do like a deep dive for a half hour, for 45 minutes, and even then you don't necessarily know what you're hearing is the truth. So where do you see as the key differentiators from you versus your competition in the marketplace?
Yeah, so for a long time we've sort of said our core mission is to help our customers securely manage and globally distribute their digital content. That's our mission. What we're passionate about as a CDN is getting that end user engaged with the best performance they can get and really delighting them with our performance. From our customer's perspective, it's about how we engage with them, so our personal touch. From a technology perspective, our focus on an engineering focus on having industry-leading rebuffer rates and throughput is where our differentiator is, and that lies both in our network and in our stack, and the way we deploy it and the way we manage the requests coming to the network. It's really easy to think it's just a DNS lookup and the request is going to land at the closest POP. You know what? It's a lot more difficult and complicated than that. Making it look easy is the trick. So what we're really good at is operating a large-scale CDN densely architected for high quality, high volume distribution and making it look easy.
That's great. Excellent. Well, we look forward to seeing you at NAB, I'm sure, in a couple months, and at IBC even later in the year. So thanks again, Steve, for your time.
No problem. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And look for more videos at SVG and at sportsvideo.org, and also to SVG Europe.